Hi, welcome back. In this tutorial we're going to make our own 808 snare. Now the 808 is not really going to be that much different to the 909, so we're just going to assume that you've been through that tutorial and we're just going to copy that chain across to another pad and just make a few small changes, and you'll see that really there's not a lot of difference between them, just the 808 snare is a bit shorter and snappier. So let's just start by copying that across, holding Control to this empty slice here, slice 12. That's, of course, Alt on Mac, and rename to 808. Might do the same to the rack itself. Okay. Now let's just change our repeating note. Right, trigger that. And let's start with the snare sound. We'll just solo that. Now we want a much shorter, snappier sound here with more of an attack. So this sound here in the sample might actually be more appropriate. So we're going to change that. That one's a bit louder, so we might need to turn the volume down a bit. I'm going to pull the high pass filter frequency down a bit, maybe the resonance up a bit, transpose it down another semitone. And the saturator is definitely too much now, so I'm going to turn that down. I'm actually going to change the type as well, the soft sine, and even turn the dry wet down to around 50%. Now, should actually turn the volume of that up so we can hear what we're working with at the top volume. I reckon we need that down even more there. Now we'll pull that down a little bit, and I'm going to take number 2 here, up the resonance, and boost around here, around 1.44 kilohertz. Now not boost it quite that much, but I was just finding the frequency there. So that's already a lot better. And I might need to just take the volume decay back a little bit. Alright, we'll leave that for the moment and we'll move on to the next one, to the bottom skin. Now this isn't going to change very much at all. We just want this to sound have a bit more of a snappier attack. So we're going to change to low pass 24 filter, turn the frequency up a bit and the resonance down. We're going to enable the filter envelope and turn the envelope amount up to around 40 and the decay to up around maybe 30 milliseconds or something. Except that's not actually working. I think I probably pressed that triangle button by mistake, and that's reset the envelope to 0, so watch out for that one. So let's set the decay to about 30, I reckon. And I might turn the volume decay back a bit. Also, you'll notice the transpose is down at -3 at the moment. We'll just turn the pitch up here until it's at +1. Just so that we've got, that's where we want this to kind of be centered. So just so we can hear what we're doing. Alright, let's move on to the top skin now. That's not too bad. We're doing much the same here. We're going to turn off that pitch envelope for the moment. And that's at +13. We're actually going to turn the envelope amount up for the filter a bit more, and the resonance down a bit, and the frequency down a bit. Pull the filter decay back a bit as well. I'm also going to turn the volume decay back a bit. And for this one, we're actually going to detune it a little bit, just so that they're not too close together in pitch. It might just sound a bit too nice and not that convincing for a snare if they're just an octave apart exactly. So that detuning it gives it a little bit of separation. Might turn that envelope amount down a little bit. Right, let's try them all together. And there you go, that sounds a lot like an 808 snare to me. So try changing the pitch. You can hear that's a bit too much, really. That's too much of a change. So, and also the snappy, I'm going to turn that down a bit as well. So rather than, there's actually another way we can fix this and make it a lot more subtle for tuning the pitch. We could go, as we did in the previous tutorial, into the map mode. You know, there's one way of doing it, but there's another way that might be a little bit simpler. And that is, because we're not actually using the pitch envelopes in either of these sounds, we can actually use the pitch envelope amount and map that to a macro to change the pitch that way. So let's unmap from pitch on both of these, and we'll have it centered at +13 for the top and +1 for the bottom. And now what we're going to do is on the pitch envelope, just turn the decay and the release right down, and for the sustain just type in 10. Center that envelope amount, and we'll map that to pitch. Yeah, that was right click or control click. Do the same for the top skin. Enable that pitch envelope, turn down the decay, turn down the release, and type in 10 to take it up to 10% for the sustain. Again, center that and map it to the pitch. And so now you can hear it's changing the envelope settings there, and it's much more subtle. And I think we might just hear this in context. Right, the congas are starting to get on my nerves now, so I'm going to get rid of them. In fact, same with the open hi-hats, and I'm just going to move those closed hi-hats over, just so we can hear it a bit more. Now, just double click. I might just select all of that, Control A or Command A on Mac, Control D to duplicate, or Command D, change the length to 1. All I did there was select that middle one and press the up arrow on the keyboard, and I'll get rid of that first one, it might just sound a bit better. Let's try that. Not sounding too bad to me. We'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. See you next time.